Hey everyone, welcome to this session by Intellipaat. I hope you guys had a beautiful day today, and I welcome you to this session on how you should prepare for the Spark and the Hadoop certification, which is basically the CCA 175 certification. Well, guys, before we begin with the session, make sure to subscribe to the Intellipaat's YouTube channel and hit that bell icon so that you never miss an update from us. Here's a quick look at today's agenda. We'll start out by taking a quick introduction to data and the world of big data, and after that we'll take a quick introduction to Cloudera. After the introduction to Cloudera, we can understand something called as the Cloudera distribution. And once you know what the Cloudera distribution is, you will understand why there is a requirement to pretty much, pick up an exam such as the CCA Spark and Hadoop certification examination, and how you can go on to learn for the same. And after that, I'm going to give you average salary for a Hadoop developer and put you on a fast track path where you can learn to become a Spark and a Hadoop developer at the quickest pace possible. Well, guys, as always, make sure you stick till the end of the live session because I have a surprise waiting for you there. On that note, let's start out with the first item on the agenda. It's the introduction to big data. Well, to understand big data, we need to start by checking out a basic fact about data. Well, what is data? Data can be defined as raw facts and statistics which are basically collected together. And why is this done? Well, this is done to ensure that it can be used to perform any references, any further analytics, or to draw any sort of inferences based on that. By inferences, what we actually mean at the end of the day is that data is a raw entity. Data as such cannot be consumed. But if data is processed, if data is worked on, then it can be converted into information. And this information is very useful for us, and that's what we're hunting for, guys. So there are various types of data. There is some form of structured data. For example, an Excel sheet is a very good example of structured data. We have music, we have images, we have audio, we have video. So all these, there are thousands and thousands of types of data if we have to talk about it. And this brings us to what big data actually is, guys. Big data is basically extremely large data sets, extremely large amount of data, which basically again is a raw entity. But then when converted to useful information, this is basically used to reveal a lot of things such as patterns, to reveal trends and associations as well, guys. But the key highlight you need to understand is that when we talk about and work with a large amount of data, it always has to involve working with patterns and trends, because that is the end result. When we have to work with big data, we start out with the end result or the end picture in mind, and it always is to draw an inference from the data when we convert it to information, guys. It's as simple as that. Now, coming to why there is a huge problem when we have to talk about big data, let me tell you that the first point is we have a huge amount of data. Every social media company that you see generates terabytes worth of data every pretty much firms such as Facebook, Twitter, Snapchat, even LinkedIn, for example, they generate terabytes worth of data every second. Yes, I just said every single second. Now imagine our laptops, our computers at home might have a total capacity of 1 terabyte or 2 terabyte, right? And these guys are generating terabytes every single second of every minute, every hour, every day, every week, every month, and so on. You get the picture. Now think about it, right? So it becomes obviously very, very expensive to store all of these data and to handle all these data at the same time. Coming to the next thing, it's data is not just one type of data, right? There's a lot of type of data that we have to deal with. There's unstructured data, there's semi-structured data, structured data. For structured data, a good example is an Excel workbook. For unstructured data, video, images, in fact, music is a very good example of unstructured data. And then it's not just the type of data that we talk about, it's the type of source through which the data comes through, right? There are a variety of sources. There can be a data warehousing setup. The data can be pulled from any sort of social media. The data can be coming in from another organization. They have a pipeline for data. Guys, when you have to think about it, this is the reason for the problem, guys. Variety of data, variety of sources for the data. And the next problem is processing speed. Let me give you an example again. To process about 2 terabytes of data, it will take you 6 hours if you have a 100 Mbps input output channel. A 100 Mbps channel is something which is pretty much, sort of a mid-end industry item, I would say. I mean, there are network cards which give you 100 Mbps for the personal use as well. But let's consider the situation, right? So I told you they generate a terabyte every single second, like more than, it might be 100 terabytes or 1000 terabytes every second. So when they're generating this amount of data, the thing is to store it. Imagine if it takes 6 hours to just store 2 terabytes worth of data to process it. It doesn't make sense, right? So we need other methodologies, we need other techniques and tools which will help us aid in this particular field. And this is where big data tools come into the picture. Spark, Hadoop, all these big names and big numbers, guys. And in fact, this is the perfect opportunity to understand what Cloudera is, guys. Well, Cloudera is basically a company. It was founded in 2008. This company is very similar to the working of Mapper and Hortonworks. If you guys have ever used Mapper and Hortonworks, they're a very famous company, and in fact they're one of the very good providers of a platform where Hadoop can be used on. And since Hadoop is an open source software, which basically means that you can integrate Cloudera with Hadoop and let Hadoop run on top of Cloudera and provide even more advantages than Hadoop actually provides. So basically, if you understand and learn Hadoop, as I mentioned in my last live session, Hadoop is basically an ecosystem. It's not just one single tool where you learn and you keep using it, right? If you know Hadoop, you can go on to understand Pig, Hive, Zookeeper, all the tools which Kafka, for example, which come with Hadoop, right? You get my point. So when you have to talk about Hadoop, just using Hadoop, it is a little pain, I would say, because setting up a cluster manually in terms of Hadoop is again a challenge even for a big data engineer or a big data architect. But then with the help of Cloudera, you can automate these processes and you have a very nice graphical user interface pretty much that can use to work with it as well. But then to give you a better example of what Cloudera does, let me tell you this. You might have heard of the Linux operating system, right? I'm sure most of us know the Linux operating system. So there are flavors of Linux. For example, there is Red Hat Linux, there is Fedora, there is Ubuntu, and there are flavors of Ubuntu as well, like Kubuntu, Edubuntu, and all these stuff, if you guys didn't know. So Red Hat, Fedora, and Ubuntu are just flavors of, basically, instead of calling it flavors, a formal definition would be to call it a Linux distribution. And Cloudera, in fact, is the distribution for to go on to work with tools such as Hadoop, Spark, and all of the other very famous open source softwares, guys. So you might be asking, okay, but why do I have to use Cloudera? Let me give you 3 good reasons of why you should consider the Cloudera distribution, guys. First thing, it is extremely fast for business. Everything from the world of analytics to the world of data science and whatever comes in between analytics to data science as well. Cloudera delivers an unbeaten performance. This performance is so well regarded in the world by professionals that pretty much it helps to unlock potential of unlimited data, guys. Read that last sentence again. Pretty much you will get all the power you need that which will help you unlock potential of unlimited data. Yes, that is a very bold claim, right? Again, when we have to talk about the next reason, basically, as I told you, Hadoop as is might be a little strenuous to work with, but then when we have to go on to make Hadoop easier to use with, well, this is where Cloudera comes in. We make sure to use the Cloudera manager, which basically automatically sets up wizards which will help you deploy all your clusters automatically. And this is done with irrespective of the scale. You want to scale to 1 machine, 2 machines, 10 machines, 100 machines, the Cloudera manager will help you to scale it and to deploy, to handle everything there is to do about your deployment environment and your activities pertaining to that. Cloudera manager takes care really well so that you don't have to get your hands very dirty when working with Hadoop. Then coming to the next reason, it's security. It's obvious because Cloudera provides us a promise saying security without a compromise. Well, I think they live up to their name because they have very strict data security and compliance rules which basically need to be followed. Without following this, you cannot work with them at all, guys. And then what this at the end of the day calls for the business person is that it will not sacrifice any sort of business speed, business acumen, or business agility to talk about it as well, because Cloudera provides a very nice approach, a very intuitive approach to making your data more secure and to ensure that you have good governance of the data that you guys are seeing. Well, this I think is the most important point of why someone should consider Cloudera, guys. And then coming to the Cloudera distribution, Cloudera works well with a lot of tools, but these are the main headers, the main standpoints, and the foundations, guys. For example, you have Hadoop, you have the Cloudera Impala, then pretty much you have Apache Spark, you have Apache HBase, and many other tools. But then these tools are famously used throughout the world, and they are being used as we speak as well. Because when you talk about it, companies such as Huawei, Docker, Cisco, Accenture, Dell EMC, Deloitte, AMD, Infosys, Capgemini, HCL, you're looking at Fortune 500 companies here, and you're looking at the biggest companies in today's world, right? I mean, there are service providers, there are product providers, and whatnot, and all of these guys, I can guarantee you, they're using Cloudera at this moment that you guys are watching the live stream, guys. So that is how much Cloudera has a deep footing in today's world of data handling, guys. Now coming to the agenda of this particular session, which is to give you a pathway to help you understand a little bit more about the CCA Spark and the Hadoop developer examination. We need to understand everything there is to know about the exam, guys. So let me tell it to you in a very simple way to ensure that we cover all the bases with respect to the audience we have today. So guys, the first thing about the exam that you need to understand is the number of questions. It is very tricky at this point of time because there are 8 to 12 performance-based questions. So these performance-based tasks are basically hands-on practical questions that will help you work with. They'll give you a question, they'll give you a situation, and you have to solve a problem in that situation. And this is basically done on the Cloudera Enterprise cluster as well, guys. So this exam is actually a tough nut to crack if you do not have the right certification or the right training, in fact. So 8 to 12 performance-based questions, and you get 120 minutes in total. That is 2 hours in total, and that's it. You might think like 2 hours seems like a lot, but then when you've actually taken up the examination, that might seem like a lot less, guys. So 2 hours of examination, 8 to 12 questions, what else? And they have a passing score as well, guys. The passing score is a minimum 70%. So if you have 12 questions, you need to find out the 70% of the 12 questions, and you need that many questions right to actually pass the developer examination. And this is a very important criteria to get you the certification, guys. And of course, the language which is pretty much used throughout the examination is English language. So it is basic English language. I would not say that you require very concise and pithy language to work with, but at the end of the day, if you have a good hold on the English language, at least for professional purposes, then it's going to help you a lot. And then we have to talk about the price of the examination. It is a little south of $300, basically 295 American dollars, guys. So this is a hefty price tag for an examination. So to make sure that you guys get the best training possible, we here at Intellipaat are striving to provide you a very good certification program for the same. To get to that, just give me a few minutes. So coming to the exam format, as I mentioned, right? So each CCA question that you get will actually have you to solve a particular scenario, which is basically having a problem. So this problem is solved with respect to various tools. There are tools like Impala, there's tools like Hive. You can use any of these tools. It will basically be mentioned in the question. You can go on to use these tools to provide a solution, to formulate the problem, and eventually solve the problem, guys. But yes, to the people who might be asking or wondering in the comment section if coding is actually required, well, yes, guys. I would say fortunately coding is required because again, it's very simple code. It's very easy to work with considering you are trained using a very good certification program, guys. And coming to the skills required to take up this examination, well, I would like to break it down into 3 primary skills. The first skill involves transforming, staging, and storing data, and the second skill is data analysis. After performing data analysis, you need to understand how you can go on to work with data configurations, guys. So coming to the first one, it's transforming, staging, and storing. If you understand the basics of Hadoop, you will know that HDFS is the Hadoop distributed file system, and that is used to store data in Hadoop and basically even in applications such as Spark as well. So at this point of time, the skill required is that you need to be able to load the data from the HDFS and to make use of it in the Spark applications. You have to have the ability to write the results back into the Hadoop file system basically by making use of Spark. And after you've done this, you need to know how you can go on to read, write files in a variety of file formats, guys. This is very important. And lastly, of course, you'll be performing various ETL operations such as extract, transform, and load operations by making use of all the data. And you'll just not be doing it as is by using any ETL tool. You'll be making use of the Spark API to go on to use this, guys. This is the first skill set that's required. Well, fear not. Make sure you stick around for a while. I'm going to tell you how you can gather all of these skills at the quickest, because I'm sure not many of us might have the exposure to working with Spark, Hadoop, and all of these on a developer level, right? So coming to the second one, it's data analysis. With respect to data analysis, you'll be using something called as the metastore tables. Basically, again, amazing form of data storage units to work with. So this will basically be an input source or something called as the data input, and there's something called as a data sink, where obviously the source is where the data comes in and the sink is where the data goes out. Think of it like a regular sink, guys. The tap is the source where the water flows down into the sink. Very simple, right? So basically, we use a lot of sourcing terminology when you have to work with Spark applications as well. And another important thing is that you need to understand how you can go on to work with the fundamentals, which is basically required to query each and every data set that is present by making use of Spark. Yes, this is a very important point. You'll be filtering data using Spark. You'll be writing queries to calculate aggregate statistics. For example, what we mean by aggregate statistics is, for example, functions like finding out the maximum, finding out the minimum, finding out the sum, finding out the average of certain numbers. All these are aggregation functions, guys. So you'll be using various functions like this, and you'll be able to join disparate data sets using Spark, guys. By disparate, what we mean is separate. So disparate is a little translation for separate. So you'll be joining various separate databases, and you'll be using Spark for the same as well. And at the end of it, you'll be able to produce a lot of ranked data, sorted data. Again, data at this point of time is information, guys. And of course, when we have to talk about configuration, it is very vital that you know that this is a practical examination, and you should be worried about generating the result and not worried about simply writing code or memorizing something and going there, because it will not work out, guys. Again, there is so many command line options that pretty much you can work with. You can change your application configuration. For example, let's say your application requires more memory than what you have actually provided it, and the command line options will basically quickly help you, efficiently help you to change all of these options at your fingertips, guys. So to work with these configuration management tools, you need to understand how command line operations work, and that forms a very important third skill. And after this, to walk you through a quick sample job description about whatever we just talked about, and to enforce my point, here is a requirement from Capgemini. Well, these guys, the first important point I want you guys to look at is, they say for knowledge of Hadoop platforms is very important. For example, Cloudera. They've specifically mentioned Cloudera, and pretty much it is very important as well. You'll have to work with various other tools. For example, Kafka. You need to understand job scheduling software such as Autosys. You'll be working with CI/CD pipelines, software development lifecycle, that is SDLC. The Azure platform. You need Agile. You need a lot of DevOps concepts when you're working with big data sometimes as well. And you'll be working with offshore environments. You'll be working away from home and whatnot. But the most important part I want you guys to go concentrate on is the first point, knowledge of Hadoop platforms via Coursera. Second thing, here's another job descriptions from the very well-known provider in the United States and in India as well, American Express. These guys are big people, right? So even they say they require preferred experience with Coursera. With Cloudera distribution specifically, guys. So when you're thinking about Cloudera, right, it is extremely vital. It is extremely important that you need to understand what Cloudera distribution is, how it works, and why we pick Hadoop over it, right? And that is exactly what I explained from the start of the session for the people who have joined right now. So you need to understand how to work with Hadoop development. For example, implementation of it, data loading using Hadoop, analysis using Hadoop, querying data sets using Hadoop, and pretty much go on to work with Hadoop security, data privacy. As I told you, that is a very important skill, right? Security, yes. And then working with physical data design, logical data design. Again, guys, instead of going through the job description in detail, make sure you check out that they have a very staunch requirement for the Cloudera distribution specifically. So on that note, I have to tell you the average salary of a Hadoop developer, Spark and a Hadoop developer basically. So the average salary in the United States is somewhere around $126,000. In India, it's somewhere around 14 lakhs per annum. And in the United Kingdom, it's somewhere around 61,000 pounds. Well, guys, this number is reachable even to freshers, even to people who have just cleared the examinations. So this is a big number. 14 lakhs per annum in India is actually a big number. $126,000 in the USA is in fact a great salary, and in fact even in the United Kingdom, where anything above 60,000 pounds is a great salary, guys. So when you think about it, this job pays really well, and no wonder Spark and Hadoop developers are one of the best have to jobs in 2020 and this particular decade, guys. So make sure that you jump on the trend train to achieve your dream goal with respect to handling big data and earning a salary just as big as this. To give you my final thoughts, pretty much whenever it comes to anything related to data, I would like to quote Bill Gates here. So Mr. Bill Gates said pretty much, how you gather data, how you manage data, and how you use information will determine whether you will win or lose. So think about it. When did the world come to this, guys? So data is the new oil. So you know how valuable oil is, right? So data is that valuable now, and having the skill to know how to gather it, how to manage it, and how to use it will eventually make or break something in a company. And that ladies and gentlemen, is a very strong quote by none other than the famous Bill Gates. Now, coming to further learning concepts, guys, as I always tell you, I champion this quote every single time. An investment in knowledge always pays the best interest, guys. Of course, this quote is very strong, and you all love it. In fact, more than us. So when you have to think about it, to learn further on all of these concepts that I taught you, or any other IT concept in general, we have an entirely dedicated YouTube channel all for you guys. So make sure to subscribe to that, hit that bell icon, check out all the videos to make sure you never miss updates from us, guys. And we have an entire blogging channel set up as well. Well, if you're not much of a video person, right? So let's say you like reading more than watching videos. Well, we have blogs where pretty much we have software architects, technical experts, and pretty much an amazing content team who come up with a lot of really good blogs where you can learn a lot. And guys, if you have any requests, right, so if you have any content requests, make sure to head on to the comment section and do let us know. And on that note, we have the Intellipaat community as well. So Intellipaat community is again another amazing place where we have people from all parts of the globe, all age brackets, who talk all technical stuff when you have to talk about IT, guys. So anything related to information technology, technical queries, basic queries, non-technical or extremely in-depth help, which is required probably when running a program or whatever it is, we serve everyone here pretty much at the Intellipaat community page. So make sure you check out the Intellipaat community page after this video, guys. So on this note, coming to the part where you actually appear for the examination and clear the examination, we have 10,000 learners who have given us a 5-star rating in none other than the other famous Big Data Hadoop certification training program by Intellipaat. So this course has been made in collaboration with the industry giant IBM. Yes, IBM. And of course, this certification training will help you clear the Cloudera Spark certification exam. And there is another exam which you can clear as well. Pretty much, at the end of the day, it's not just the purpose of you clearing the Cloudera examination, but you will be mastering Hadoop administration, guys. Mastering, yes, that is a very strong word. We are aware of it, and we say it with confidence because we give you 14 real-time industry-oriented projects. We give you case studies and whatnot, and basically this will help you from having no knowledge about big data all the way till understanding big data in depth, working with cloud, Amazon EC2, for example, to set up your clusters, your Spark frameworks, RDDs, Spark SQL, machine learning using Spark, Spark streaming, and various other concepts as well, ladies and gentlemen. So to talk about a little bit about the key features about what we provide here at Intellipaat, we give you 60 hours of instructor-led training and 85 hours of self-paced videos where you can learn at your own time. But the most important highlight I want to give you guys is this. We at Intellipaat believe that you need to have the right exercises, the right project work, especially hands-on experience, because this at the end of the day is exactly what you're going to need on your resume, and this is what exactly is going to tell you and the world around you that you have learned this concept or not. That's why we give you twice the project work as the instructor-led session trainings we have, guys. So 120 full hours of project work is going to help you a lot alongside the certification. And of course, we're going to give you a certificate at the end of course completion, and we provide job assistance as well, guys. Our course advisors can help you about it in detail, and we give you flexible scheduling in case if you guys have a tight schedule and you might be wondering, you might have a job, you might have kids at home that you might not be able to think that you cannot put in some time to learn to upskill yourself. Well, fear not. Here at Intellipaat, we give you amazing flexible scheduling, so make sure to reach us out at the earliest as well, guys. And of course, we give you lifetime free upgrades and 24/7 lifetime support and access to the course. So let's say you buy the course right now, you complete it, you are certified, but then 2 years from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, you want to come back to it and revisit it, relearn it. And of course, there are many things we keep forgetting, right? So when you do that, when there's a situation created like that, whenever you return to this, you will not have to buy again, guys. I am pretty sure, because at the end of the day, the promise we give you is lifetime free access and lifetime free upgrade. So when you come back 2 years from now, 5 years from now, you're going to learn the latest iteration of whatever is in demand in the market and whatever has been put out then as well. That is the promise that we strive to provide here at Intellipaat. And coming to the course content a little, you're going to start all the way from installing Hadoop and setting it up. You'll be working with Cloudera Manager, as I told you. You'll be understanding various tools, such as Spark. You have Scala, Scoop, Pig, Flume, all these tools. And after that, after setting up your machine to work with all of these, you're going to take the quick introduction to big data Hadoop. You're going to understand the Hadoop distributed file system. You will understand Mapreduce, pretty much working with replications, block sizes, secondary name nodes, high availability. Yarn is basically a resource manager, and you have to work with a node manager as well, guys. So as you can see, we have hands-on exercises provided for every single module as well. So to understand your requirement in depth, we provide the hands-on exercises to ensure you check your learning every single point of time throughout the learning experience here at Intellipaat, guys. Then after that, we give you a deep dive into MapReduce. You're going to learn everything in detail: input formatting, output formatting, what actually goes on in MapReduce, where you'll be mapping in various stages, reducing in stages. You have various terminologies, guys. You have shuffling, sorting, combiners, partitioners, and everything else. And pretty much you will have a hands-on exercises on that as well. Then of course, after that, you're going to have an introduction to Hive, and the list goes on and on, guys. So everything all the way from there to introduction of Pig, Flume, Scoop, HBase, RDDs, Spark, data frames using SQL, Spark streaming, and this is where Hadoop administration comes into the picture as well. And every single module has various hands-on exercises that will ensure that you become an expert in this. And guys, after this, theoretical knowledge is amazing to have. Again, as I told you, here at Intellipaat, we reinforce that you have the actual hands-on experience. So we have multiple projects. You can see the project name, the industry in which this project is oriented at, the problem statement, the topics which are needed to go on to cover it, the highlights of the projects, and this will give you an entirety of the picture of what goes on to solve an industry level project. And of course, you will be the person solving this project, guys. You have multiple projects. You have the banking sector projects, social media network projects, general sectors, pretty much internet services, and as I can keep counting, you have over 11 projects here. Again, everything from all that to till sports and entertainment as well. You will be analyzing the Indian Premier League T20 cricket data sets too, and you have Apache Spark projects as well, guys. Again, if I keep going, I can tell you on and on about how amazing this course is. And of course, we provide sample data, sample videos that you guys can look at before making a purchase as well. And after course completion, you will have a course certificate which looks something like this. It's from IBM, because we are creating this entire course in collaboration with IBM. As you know, IBM is a huge industry giant, and they've been here for over 108 years. Yes, IBM has been in this world for over 108 years, and that's a fact, ladies and gentlemen. You can Google that. And the certification, of course, is recognized in various MNCs all the way from Ericsson, Cisco, Cognizant, Sony, Mu Sigma, Saint-Gobain, Standard Chartered, TCS, Genpact, Hexaware. I can tell you more, ladies and gentlemen. So if you have to think about a best place, a best structured learning path to starting your big data Hadoop career, to ensure you ace that Cloudera exam, to ace the Hadoop administration learning, make sure you look at Intellipaat's course seriously. In fact, you can download the entire curriculum at a single click by clicking on this download curriculum button, which is at the middle of the page, guys. So after that, you can check out all the reviews our dear learners leave to us, all the feedback they leave to us, and at the end of it, we are sure you'll have more questions, right? For example, why should I learn Hadoop from Intellipaat? Can I request a session if I need to understand the topic better? Does Intellipaat offer job assistance? How are the verified certificates awarded? Will they guarantee you a job? More and more questions, of course. And you will have more questions, I'm sure, but give me a moment to fulfill my promise, because as I told you, this coupon code YouTube 30 is specially for the viewers of this particular video, my dear viewers. It's going to get you 30% off on all of the courses we sell here at Intellipaat. So this 30% off pretty much can be your direct fastest way to success, your way to your highest paying jobs, the best jobs to have in the world of IT and whatnot. So make sure to use the coupon code YouTube30, YOUTUBE in caps and 30 in numerics to get you guys a flat 30% off and to quickly launch your career into success. And on that note, you have reached the end of this session. If you have any queries, any doubts, any course suggestions, any recommendations, head down to the comment section and do let me know now. And if you guys are stuck at a particular place where you do not know what course you might have to pick, you do not know if the course is right for you guys, right now dial us up. The numbers on your screen. You have the Indian number and the US number, and our course advisors are waiting for you 24/7, 365 days of the year to help out all our dear learners, guys. But then if you're not much of a calling person, if you prefer writing emails, you can shoot us a mail, sales@intellipaat.com, and we'll be more than happy to guide you at the earliest. And on that note, I would like to end this live session. Thank you so much for joining. I wish you have a very pleasant day ahead and see you on the next one. Good night.